What's going on, Tony? Yeah, Vault is one of the projects I'm looking at. I like a lot of the stuff that's going on right now in DeFi. So before I jump into things, one of the things I just wanted to talk about a few things in general. I started a announcements channel on Telegram, and so that's going to be a free option. I also have my private Telegram group. I've been spending a lot of time in there. And other groups basically doing a lot of research on projects over the last 3 days. And I wanted to share a lot of that information that I've gone through with you guys. So there's a spreadsheet that I've been working on with a lot of different projects. I'm not going to be able to cover all of them, but what I really wanted to do was to give a broad overview of the DeFi market, because there's just a lot going on in DeFi right now. And I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of a just to give you guys a little bit of an indication. If you look at the amount of money that's in DeFi, this is DeFi Pulse. I've left this in the description below. It was roughly around $1 billion for a long time, from 2018 to 2020, and basically in the last 2 months or so, we've seen a huge surge, and so a lot of these DeFi tokens have exploded in value, and I wanted to cover on some of them, because some of them are great projects. They might not necessarily be the best time to get into right now, and basically the one at the top of that list would be Chainlink. Chainlink has just been doing phenomenally well. It's a great project. It's one of my top 5. I don't think it's necessarily the best time to buy in right now. There's a few articles, I'll have to attach them after the stream, that are talking about they think there's going to be a little bit of a pullback. And with a lot of these projects, we may see that. We may see a little bit of a pullback from this. We may see them continue to go up for a little while before that pullback happens, and it's difficult to say when that's going to happen. And so what I wanted to do in this video was really kind of give a broad overview and look at things a little bit differently, and show you kind of how I'm categorizing all of these projects and trying to give you a little bit of a different way of looking at them. So first, if we look at a lot of the DeFi space as a whole, it's over 90% in Ethereum. And that's really why we've seen the Ethereum price has really just absolutely skyrocketed. And one of the really negative aspects to that has been the gas fees. And that's one of the things that has just really impacted. This is ETH gas station. And we've seen, Uniswap, Tether, with all of the trading that's going on with that pair, Forsage, Matrix project that's very gas intensive. One inch exchange is another one I've just recently been looking into. It's kind of an aggregator DEX style exchange, and Chainlink. I mean, these have just been eating up all of the gas. I mean, gas fees have been insane, and so it's hard to do micro transactions, which is kind of like one of the things that's a nice aspect to the DeFi space. And so instead, what we're really seeing is just a lot of money pouring in, not necessarily a whole lot of micro transactions, just because the fees don't make it sustainable until ETH 2.0 comes out, and hopefully that gets resolved. I don't know if that's going to be something that's going to be resolved, but if you look at some of the projects I've been covering, I've been getting out of Ethereum partly because I just didn't. I thought the ETH gas fees were just really going to clog up a lot of the development and innovation in those projects. So I didn't really get that involved in Ethereum, and I got more involved in TRON. I got more involved in IOST and a few others. But if you're just looking at just the overall market cap, I mean, Ethereum has just exploded today, almost $430. It's up almost another 10%. I mean, it was $200 not even a couple of months ago, and I think a lot of that has been pushed by the developments in DeFi. And you can see Chainlink now just number 5. It's been doing phenomenally well, and that's something that you have to take a little bit of note of. And if you look at some of the other ones, like TRON, is it's a small sliver, 2% or something of the Ethereum, 2 or maybe 4%. I guess that's how the math works on that. maybe, or about, I guess about 3% would probably be, it's 3% of the Ethereum's market cap. Even though, like, you see a lot of the DeFi, like the gaming casino dApps have been preferably on TRON, but it's doing amazing as well. I think TRON could really really pump here lately. I think it's really poised for a breakout because we've seen it in its history. We've seen the transactions really picking up, and so I think that TRON could be one that breaks out. And then the other one that I've been involved in pretty heavily has been IOST. You got to go down the list a little bit. I mean, IOST, it just feels as though it's a superior blockchain. When you're looking at some of these different projects, it's way more it's just way more efficient in terms of its fees. I'm not seeing it here. Where is IOST? Did it drop out of the top 100? It did. It's 108. So and that's been one of the sources of criticism with IOST lately, is that there's been some evidence that a lot of the dumping, while everything is pumping, IOST was dumping, and it was really strange. And so some people were investigating on the blockchain and found that it was primarily the foundation dumping like billions of tokens onto the market. So it's unfortunately there seems to be a little bit of some things about IOST in terms of its fundamentals of the people running it that leaving a lot of questions. And I think that came out with some of the quarterly rewards with the with the IOST nodes and the staking rewards, is that there was there was a little bit of skepticism behind some of that. It looked like they were just paying their friends, and like people that weren't involved, like the PowerMine group. I mean, it's been amazing what they've done over these past several months, basically since the beginning of this year, and the amount of innovation that they've put onto IOST, and to not get recognized at all. And you have a lot of these no-name projects. I mean, the majority of the innovation with IOST lately has been through the PowerMine ecosystem. So PowerMine is very concerned about this, and they have decided to move into Ethereum, and we're going to see that here very, very shortly. I'm getting ready to do a video on that to explain that a little bit more. It's where the money is. It's more stable. You're not dealing with some of the same issues. I mean, I was very, very bullish on IOST after I saw some of the information that was presented to me about some of the corruption with the foundation and the things that are maybe going on behind the scenes. It seems to me as though they are a little bit more focused on some of the things that are going on with the Chinese government and some of the larger Chinese corporations. And there's unfortunately, there's some issues with that ecosystem. It's just as far as trust. So I don't feel as though there's going to be as much maybe an explosion in growth on IOST that we maybe you would see on Ethereum or some of these other blockchains, even TRON. So I think that's why I've gotten. I think it's still very valuable. I think it's still a very good ecosystem to be on, but I think that is going to change, and I think just everything is really moving into Ethereum, and we see that with all of the innovation on there. So if you're getting into my number 2 pick, which is the Just project, which is the one project that has pumped a little bit. I still think it has a long ways to go, but it is basically the big DeFi project as far as a moneymaker on TRON, and so I think this one has a lot of room for growth. We can see it's still relatively new. I just launched here in May, and it just recently pumped. So I think it may pull back down a little bit, and I think that's going to be a great time to get into that project because of all of the innovation on DeFi may start to move to other blockchains if Ethereum just continues to get more and more clogged, which is, I mean, everything that we're seeing with the gas fees is they are going up at almost exponentially. And it's just, people are not going to pay 30 to $50 to do a simple transaction on Ethereum. That's just insane. And it seems there's also some corruption with the Ethereum miners that are spamming the network to artificially inflate that. And I think that with the ETH 2.0, that's going to be fixed to a certain extent. But I still feel that from what I know of ETH 2.0, the fees are still going to be like 10, 15 cents. They're not going to be essentially free like we see on TRON and IOST. So that prevents some of the microtransactions and some of the innovation potential that may be possible. But still, you have a tremendous amount of money that's in Ethereum. And so when I was going through, I'll show you guys like the spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet I've been working on, and this is I'm just trying to categorize things. And so what I'm doing is, if you take the top 5 DeFi projects, Chainlink, Maker, Compound, Lend, and Synthetics, you see that when they launched, when we started seeing adoption, when these were really starting to pump. Now these are the top 5 in terms of their market cap. These have been around since 2017, essentially, except with the exception of Compound. One of the reasons why I feel this is still kind of a lower risk project is just the amount of money backing it. I mean, it's still very, very new, and it's widely available on all these different exchanges. And I've put a lot of these different exchanges. I was going through and seeing where they're listed, and so I've left 5 exchanges in the description below. Those are my top 5 exchanges for these DeFi projects, and not all of them are going to be on Binance, but you see a lot of the bigger ones are on Binance. But Bbox and Gate.io are great ones for getting into DeFi projects. So if you don't have an account with those exchanges, I would recommend checking that out. I think there's a lot of DeFi projects that are covered with those exchanges. I feel as though those are very secure. They've been around for a long time. They have quite a bit of volume, and they have more exposure to some of the smaller projects in DeFi, much more so than, say, Binance. And then a few others, KuCoin and Bitmart, I would probably lean more towards KuCoin. That's probably my favorite exchange right now. But they don't have everything, but they have quite a bit in the DeFi space, Bitmart as well. And then you start getting into like Uniswap and Balancer and 1inch, which are kind of more like, more like a DEX, and you're going to be dealing with some of the fees with Ethereum to transact on those, because a lot of these are more specific to Ethereum. They're almost, like I said, like 90% of them are on Ethereum. So if you're transacting outside of an exchange, you're going to be paying very, very high fees, and that's one of the ways to get around some of those issues and problems, is to be in an exchange environment and picking up some of those. So like, for instance, just real recently, over the last 2 days, one of the biggest projects that has been trending on crypto Twitter and just the crypto space as a whole has been the YAM project, a yield farming, which is kind of aggregates a lot of these DeFi projects, and you have the ability to, by staking them, you can farm YAM tokens, and we saw that go up to $167 in value. And so I was anticipating it was going to come back down. It did. I didn't realize it was going to crash all the way to 20 cents, which is kind of what we saw because of some of the issues and bugs that they had with that project. But I feel they're coming out with like a version 2.0 apparently that's going to fix those issues, and that one should be really big. I feel, once they get that going. I think they need to figure out how to reimburse or do right by the community, because there was a lot of money in that project. There was a ton of money in YAM, and a lot of people lost a lot of money in that project. So that's unfortunate, but that's one of the risks when you're dealing with an unaudited contract that's brand new, like that one. But I feel the next version that's coming out has a lot of potential. And then that's when you start getting into some of these like smaller ones. So like if I'm looking at some of my picks for some of the smaller projects, I haven't gone through and fully covered these just yet, but Ample and RMPL, these are rebase tokens, and these are ones where they have a static or a elastic supply that fluctuates up and down based on price dynamics and things like that. So these were interesting. I mean, I've made some money trading Ample. I didn't get into RMPL, but it's basically a clone of Ample. So I'm sure there will be more like this. The YAM project had some aspects to that. It functions in that way. YFI is a real good one. I mean, it's basically, it's got 5 stable tokens, and it also uses Compound, the LEN token, for a project called Curve FI. So this one has a very expensive, very expensive token. Like, it's when you're looking at the price of projects, you know, if we just sort by price, it's number 2. And so we've seen this very high at times. I mean, it was almost like $7,000 not too long ago. But there's only 30,000 tokens. So that's really going to push the price of this up. And that is an interesting aspect, because I'm sure it'll get some attention. I know people like to hold, you know, whole number tokens, but I feel this one could be one that could be very good. You know, seen it's pulled back a little bit, but we saw a massive pump just a few days ago. And so YFI has been an interesting one. Again, these are relatively new. So, you know, this one, all of the dates that I'm going by are what I saw in CoinMarketCap. So, like, for instance, this is began July 21st. It's been on the exchange, like, you know, not even a month. You know, it was about 4,000, you know, before, and reached, you know, 6,000 or so. So it's, I feel this one could be a good one. You know, it's if we look at some of the market pairs, it's trading on some pretty major exchanges. But when I'm looking through the exchange list, you know, I'm not very big on, say, like Poloniex or some of these other ones that don't have as much history. I've heard some really bad things about LBank. But you see, like, Gate.io, you see Yobit's a good one, Uniswap, Balancer, this 1-inch exchange. So when you're looking at some of the ways to get into these tokens without having to pay some of the insane gas fees, the exchanges might be the best way to go. Now, if you want to really engage in the project, you want to stake on those, I feel that might be you know, something where at that point maybe you can transfer your tokens out of the exchange and take part in that ecosystem. For instance, like with YAM and some of the yield farming that I'm sure is going to grow. I think we're going to see some more projects like that here very soon. But there's you know, there's a lot to like about the DeFi space as a whole, and, you know, just with the value that we've seen, I mean, this could explode. This could really explode. And I feel like this is what's really is going to push the you know, the adoption that we're going to see towards the end of the year. So you can see some of the categories with some of these projects and whatnot. So going back to my list, move down the list here a little bit. Elron has been one that's been trending a lot on Twitter. SBTC, some guys have made some really good gains with that one. WETH, I need to look into these more. Trade has been a big one. That's probably, you know, I've Trade, Balancer, Just, Chainlink, and Per as my top 5. Per being the deflationary token on the IOST network powered by PowerMine. That one I feel has a lot of long-term potential because it's kind of a hybrid between Hex, what was it, the Void token on TRON. It was like a deflationary token. I didn't get into that one, but some of the mechanics behind it are really good. So those are my top 5. That's going to most likely change, and there's going to be different opportunities to get into these. And so I think, like, one of the things that I'm going to do, and I've been wanting to do with my channel, is I went through and I covered all of these passive income projects that I've been exploring and getting into, and using some of the funds from those to get into different ways to trade. So I'm getting into CatBot, which is automated leverage trading, and I'm going to be doing more updates on that. I'm getting into Forex. I just got into some Forex projects. One of them is not open to US citizens. I put that into the link below, the OCTA FX. You can shadow trade on there, and they have a lot of really good traders that are trading on Forex that are doing pretty well. So that's one that Tiwi got me into, and that one looks really promising. I think that there's going to be some good profitability potential with that project. So I'm going to be doing a video on that one pretty soon. But that's kind of where I'm at. Like, you have all of the passive income projects, using those to build up some crypto to work with, to trade with, and then finding different opportunities in the DeFi tokens and some of the trading bots, whether it's leverage trading or some of the exchange bots on 3 commas, Swing Trade Pros, and TitusAi are 3 that I've been looking at. I'm not as actively involved in those, but probably will be here soon once I get some more of those set up, and then doing a little bit of Forex trading, and and then that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of the basis of my channel is decentralized projects, trading, and other passive income opportunities. So that's where I'm kind of trying to build out a real overview of some of the most promising projects that I'm looking at right now. And so I have a lot of those listed below, and some of those are going to be a little bit higher risk than others. I'm going to go through and track the APRs on those, because some of them are really solid projects. Like, the chance of them scamming is like almost non-existent. So some of the ones that come to mind would be the D Live staking with the BTT token, because it's basically integrated into their project, but the APR on that's been like 20%. So with these DeFi projects, that's one of the big things about this is, like, I had a small retirement account, and I had it on aggressive, and it was paying like 6-7% a year. And with these DeFi projects, you can do that in a native token, in a stable token, or you can do it on something that has potential to really go up in value. So there's a lot more potential and a lot more security with that right now in DeFi, and that's why there's a lot more interest. And I think that is something that's going to bring over a lot of institutional investors, because it's become more secure, it's become more stable. And then I'm also looking at some of the higher interest ones that have even a little bit more potential. So like, I can opt to have some of the funds that I have making 6-7% in a retirement account in traditional financial markets, or I can do take the opportunity with, say, staking on D Live, or putting into Bust a Bit, which is one that's it's been around since 2014, and being a part of the bankroll. So, like, there's not as much marketing behind those, not as many people know about some of them. There's not like a referral program or some incentives really to market them, but there is some really good income potential, and those are projects that most likely will not go away. They're not paying as well as some of the other projects. Like, I'm in other projects that are paying like anywhere between 10 to 20% per month. And so those are going to be a little bit more high risk, because they haven't been around as long, and a lot of people are still skeptical of their legitimacy. They may have issues or problems with regulations in the future if they become bigger. So we'll see how that goes. But I know I've been chatting here a little bit. But oops, starting to lose internet. So I've got the circle here. I'm not sure if you guys are able to see me as well, but man, internet issues have been a problem here in Manila. I'm still dealing with internet issues, but okay, well, I'm not sure if I'm on now because I've got the circle of death. So anyways, that's primarily what I wanted to cover in this video, was just kind of give you guys a little bit of a broad overview of some of the projects that I'm in, and some of the things that I'm you know, looking to explore a little bit more. So I'm gonna be doing more updates on that here in the near future, and giving you updates. Also, if you want to join my free announcements channel, I'll be giving some updates on there and sharing that as well. So that's a great way to you know, to stay connected with some of the things that I'm getting involved with. So anyways, I appreciate you guys staying online. I'll catch you guys in the next video.